we've got Alex and Sarah from 3.Jettes Cycling Club. They founded the group in very recently, summer 2023, and their aim is to improve sort of gender disparity in cycling. So they're here to tell us all about it. So huge welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Hello everyone. So I'm Alex. We've got Sarah. Thank you for having us. There's been some great talks so far. Firstly, we'd just like to introduce ourselves and then let you kind of know a bit more about us. So yeah, let's go from there. Sarah is much more eloquent than I am, so she'll be doing most of the talking.
It's not true at all, because I'm also losing my voice. But and I guess a little disclaimer thus far is that we actually haven't practiced this, but that kind of just goes to what we do on a weekly basis with Jets. We just sort of wing it, and so far it's worked. So
far so good. Yeah. So I saw this a couple of hours ago. So here we are. But yeah, it goes to show that obviously it's not our full-time jobs. It's just a bit of a passion project of ours. So yeah.
So how we started is how Alex and I met. In fact, I guess I started cycling about 3.5 years ago. I rode a bike growing up, but when I moved to Manchester, I didn't know anyone. I didn't have any friends. It was beginning of COVID. It was during lockdown, and I saw cycling as a way of being able to integrate into community, which did that. Exercise while the gyms were closed. I was a gym goer. Gyms were closed, so did that. Got me out to see the countryside. Got me out to see the UK and further abroad now. Did that. So ticked a lot of boxes. I love this group because it's the breadth is just enormous, from utility cycling, active travel, through to you put that on the screen and we kind of feel a bit out of place, to be honest. By all means, not pro at all. When I started cycling, I Googled best entry-level road bike, and I bought the cheapest one I could. The cheapest but the best sort of that I could find. I got served an ad, and it's a bit of a funny call out, and I didn't plan to do this, so I'm kind of yabbering on a bit. But I got served an ad through Facebook algorithm that was from Manchester City Council, because they obviously saw that I was buying a bike, and it was about it was a free service on how to ride a bike in Manchester. Vincent, you came to my house. And you rocked up with a bike with flowers on the front, and I followed you around for 18 kilometres. And that was my first experience riding a bike. So, shout out Vincent. Nice to see you again. So this is what's happened in the last 3 years. So 2021, fast forward. Alex and I met at a Rafa Women's 100. I'd never cycled 100 kilometres.
I definitely never cycled 100 kilometres. It was my kind of first club ride, and I thought, yeah, I'll give it a go, see what happens. And it went alright. I met Sarah, so it went even better.
We made it, and we made great friends along the way. Alex is a bit more adventurous than me, but I'm also quite competitive, so anything she does, I get massive FOMO. So I'm like, she signs up for something, I'm like, now I have to sign up. So there's a few of those this year, but that photo was taken at one of them, and it was a learn how to crit race course. It was over 4 weeks, and it was in Leeds, and it was run by our now coach, Sue Allen, and a group that a lot of you may have heard of called Ride Like a Girl. They were pretty popular. They turned into Clutch racing team. So Elle did an amazing job of getting women into sort of bridging that gap between learning how to ride on the road, being sort of interested in racing, and then going on to racing. So we were involved in that. That was a call. Alex said, I'm doing it. And I was like, okay, I'll do it.
It's so far. It's in Leeds.
It's in Leeds. So that's, I guess, how it started. Maybe next slide. Do you want to talk about, tame side maybe?
Go for it. You smash it.
Okay, so
This happens a lot. Sarah's in charge. Just a little cheerleader.
so then we started crit racing, and like Cat 4. I've not moved out of Cat 4 for 3 years. So, hey.
What's that?
Oh, Cat 4 is the lowest category of racing in the system. So if you're a pro, you would go obviously Cat 4 up to Cat 2. We would race against, like in grassroots, you sort of race against maybe Cat 2 people, Category 2 people. But yeah, it's a very entry level race, but where you want to race. I say race. I mean participate, like, I just rock up and hope for the best, but race sounds way cooler than that. So we started racing a little bit, like just dabbling, and it's really fun, and it takes us out of our comfort zone, and it just made me feel good. I'm 39 now, and I sort of line up on the start line against 18-year-olds that put me to shame, and but it doesn't stop me. It's awesome. It's still a really good time. But what we found in Manchester is that we actually had to keep going back to Leeds every week, or keep going to Sheffield every week, and they had a Tameside race meet over summer. They had 12 weeks, and so I've done it for the last 2 years, and the women's races were getting less and less, so out of 12 weeks, they'd only put on 2 women's races. You can go and race in the open category, so I did, and it was shit. So, Alex was in London at the time with med school, and you were like coming back to Manchester, and you were like, this is shit.
Yeah, I feel like, yeah, Sarah's right, it is shit. I feel like after cycling quite a lot in London, and I know some of you mentioned it before, it actually feels like quite a safe space, like the infrastructure's there, and it's quite a large community, it's very diverse, and then coming back up here is like the complete opposite. So I think me doing that and Sarah finding it shit is kind of our motivation to do something.
So we had conversations with Tameside, the organisers, and we had our club. So we cycle with Rafa in Manchester, and they were sponsoring it, and we were just like, guys, like, what's doing? Like, this is so crap. They're just not supporting the women. And we'd had these sort of back and forth conversations, these cyclical conversations, where it was like, can you put on women's races? Well, we could, but no women turn up. Or we do, but no women turn up. We're like, yeah, no women are turning up because you're not putting on races. And then it just went back and forth. And so you can sort of see where they're coming from, because they are putting on women's races, but there's not the energy behind it that's needed. Anyway, because we've done these sessions, we were like, we think there's women here. We were involved in the community enough to go, okay, we think there is enough women to put it on ourselves. So we hired the track, we hired the coach for 4 weeks in a row. We made a brand, which is kind of cool, because we kind of sat down and we were like, what do we call ourselves? And actually, we'd just done a ride with you for last year's women's ride, and we met at the Pankhurst statue. The Emmeline Pankhurst statue.
So it's all your fault.
And we were like, right, like, what could we call ourselves that are like, we've got to be empowered here, we're like making a stance. So Jets is actually a really fun nod to suffragettes. So that's where it's come from, and also our colour, so we're all purple and green and black and white, and so that's a really sort of nice nod to suffragettes, and we're all about words, wheels not words, instead of things not words, of course. So that's sort of where the brand came from. But there's some really, I think why Jets has worked, and I guess this sort of, I put this, I'm talking a lot, but I'm sorry.
That's good, it's really good.
There's a few things, reasons why I think Jets has sort of been so successful and sort of caught on a lot. And when you talk about why we started and the whole suffragettes and the purpose behind it, we've got some genuine purpose. When we sat down, we talked about what mattered to us, just as mates, and going into the women's cycling community of Manchester. you then get a bunch of women together, and that sort of transmits through the group. What we mean and what we say, you know, we walk our talk, and it is about being inclusive and just showing up. It doesn't matter what you wear. It doesn't matter. I know, like, you know, we kind of get. There's been comments made about, you know, we're very RAFA, or, you know, we're very race. Well, we're actually not. Like, whoever you are, like, we want to open the door. You don't actually have to want to race. If you want to progress to racing, cool. If you want to turn up and, like, just meet people, cool. If you want to improve your bike handling skills, improve your fitness, then that's cool too. Like, people cycle for loads of different reasons, and I think when we sat down and we made Jettes, like, that's sort of just what we're trying to do. Say, this is what works for us. Come and join in. So next slide. You can definitely talk to this one.
Okay.
Friends of Jettes.
Yeah. So Friends of Jettes. This is well, it obviously is brand promotion because they're up here, but we're not trying to promote any of these brands, but they are people that supported us on our journey so far. Some of them you probably recognise. From one side, Outdoor Provisions, Luke over there, unfortunately no longer. Cold Dark North, I don't know whether you guys follow them or know anything about them, but it's all about the podcast.
Yeah, I mean, just content creators, again, doing what we do and trying to get as many people into cycling as possible. Cold Dark North in particular, up in the Lake District, up in Cumbria, really encourages people to get out on their bikes up in Cumbria.
Yeah, so they also put on race events, and one of their principles is for every men's race to have a women's race, which was on a podcast somewhere. So yeah. And good friends of ours, so thank you, Cold Dark North. Rafa Manchester, obviously a bit biased towards this as I work for them, disclaimer. Just one day a week to keep a bit of money in my pocket. But they have been really supportive. They are really trying to grow their women's community, both through helping us and trying to get more people road riding in Manchester, which obviously is not the easiest thing to do at the moment. Next along the list we have Northern Monk, who are my favourite friend of Jess, who provided us with some lovely beers for after our sessions. The whole point for us was we like cycling, but we like the socialising. We definitely like going for a beer afterwards, so why not bring that to our sessions? That's something that they helped us with, and we had women staying after the sessions and having a few beers around the track and having a chat, and that was kind of one of the best points of the sessions, I'd say. And then finally, for those of you that don't know, Kickback Coffee Roasting, just up the road, provided us with little samples of coffee for some of our Jettes, and they're really keen on kind of growing the gravel side and the walking, and getting kind of women involved in most sides of outdoor activities, really.
So I guess the point of this slide, like, is obviously just say, like, these are our friends of Jettes, but we just contacted a bunch of local businesses and said, this is what we're trying to do. We don't know if it's going to work. We don't know if it's going to be popular. Do you want in? Can you give us some stuff to pass on? And we thought that was a way, because honestly, like, there is a risk that for Alex and I, in that we use our own money to buy everything, and then we cover costs, and we only just covered costs last summer to hire the venue and the coach. So we thought by reaching out to these people, it gave us some legitimacy as a brand. That sounds a bit way too advanced for where we are. But yeah, it just but it also gave us a bit of a marketing angle to say, hey, anyone that's coming, we've got these brands involved, and you get a bag of goodies as well. So buy a ticket, and hopefully we make some costs back. So it was awesome support, but now we actually have brands reaching out to us and saying, can we give you stuff? So it's come full circle. Next slide. That was the goodie bag, so the welcome bag. But yeah, like I said now, we've got people coming in, wanting to give us stuff. Just to reiterate Alex's point about the beer, like after part of our like schedule was a 2-hour schedule, and it was the last 20 minutes was just a beer and debrief, and it's so valuable. Like can't even tell you, like you can go like this week we've got cornering and we've got group riding and that's all ace, but we've got beers as well, and like everyone just wants to sort of hang out and have a chat, so that was really sick. And I touched on just briefly like some of the benefits. So we put a fair bit of effort and a fair bit of energy into content to promote. Like obviously we didn't have community at all, so now that we have a community, it's super easy to promote, but building that community was probably the hardest. We only have, we still have less than 500 followers on Manchester, but that, 500 followers on Instagram, but that following is so engaged that anything we put out, and now any ticket sales that we try to cover, like the demand is for our events, which are capped at 20 at the moment, is so great. So building that community to start with was really, really valuable. Showing the benefits of what the sessions are was really, really valuable. I think that worked well. These are our summer sessions. So this is what we put on at Tameside.
Can you imagine it being sunny now? Wearing short sleeves and shorts.
With a couple of familiar faces. One of the other things we did was just always make sure we have a camera there, because people love to show what they're doing, and cyclists love to show themselves cycling. So, but it's also like, I don't know, for me, you might want to talk about what's special for you, but for me, every session, and it doesn't matter now if it's in the velodrome or on the track, there is this 30-minute mark where you literally have women coming in, and kudos to them so much, because they come by themselves, they don't know anyone, and I think that in itself is just massive achievement. And we introduce ourselves. Some women are literally shaking, that's how scared they are, but they get themselves to the event, and I'm just in total awe of them. And about the 30-minute mark of every single session, something magical happens where the nerves dissipate and the confidence soars, and there's all these pockets of conversation between women that don't know each other, and it's just absolutely incredible to watch. And every time, like I said, we sort of wing it. We don't have any grand plans or anything like that, but every time we're like, we should put something else on, we need to do this, let's keep it going, sort of thing, because it's a lot of energy outside of our everyday jobs. And you think of that, you're like, that's why we do it. It's really, really special.
Awesome.
And what's special for you?
Yeah, I think basically what you said. But yeah, just people kind of coming together that have never met before, doing a sport that sometimes, especially on the velodrome, that people have never ever done before, and just wanting to give it a try. And just to watch, their confidence build over an hour, 2 hours, and then be so happy that they want to come back again it's quite nice to see.
So I guess just finally to wrap it up, it's exactly that. We've only put on 10 sessions today. We've got another 2 in the bag with plans for another series on the velodrome. The velodrome sold out. Our first session sold out in less than 48 hours. The demand, as I said, now that we've got this small but really engaged community, the demand is there, and it's just growing rapidly. Anytime you want to put something on, it just gets shared, and we just get beautiful posts and beautiful messages afterwards. So just 10 sessions, but 88 women new to cycling, and this is going back to Tameside saying no women want to do it. And I think 60% is a modest, me doing maths on the fly today, but I think people who are coming back, no, maths is not a strong point, people coming back, more than half, a large amount of women come back for more than one session. These tracks are like the velodrome sessions. We've got wait lists of 10 people per session. So definitely putting more sessions on and looking to just build a bit more of a calendar. But yeah, that's...
Yeah, I think us being not so much unorganised, but maybe unprepared helps as well, because when we first started, we wanted to build something that people wanted, and when we started, we started with what we wanted, I guess, and then we've changed that to see what kind of people come to our sessions and then kind of go from there. So it is nice to have our little dream, but then to get people to come in and change that, and especially the velodrome sessions being so popular, that's something we'd look to obviously put in more on now, but yeah, it's about the people that come and changing that to what they want, really.
Is everybody inspired and wanting to start racing? Everyone's Googling, I can see. Has anyone got any questions?
Yes.
Oh, one.
Yeah, what's next? What have you got planned?
What do you want us to do? I think, we'll probably try and run another set of velodrome sessions. They've been really popular. When the sun comes out, I think back to Tameside. And then, just kind of...
For me, I think it would be good to align with the season calendar. So like at the moment, we kind of do things backwards. So we come into the end of track season and we put in velodrome. But if people do actually want to go on to race, then they've got to wait until next season. So I think you lose the momentum. So I'd like to sort of flip it a little bit. Like to do crit series at the beginning of spring. So then if people do actually want to race, then there's the opportunity to do that. And then I also just like to see it like not dependent on Alex and I. Like we say it's a community, not actually a club. Like Jets CC is cycling community. We're not an affiliated club as of yet. We're contemplating doing that because some of our attendees have asked they want to race and they want to race for Jets. So we're contemplating becoming a club. What I would like to see is, so Alex and I don't have to be there for every session, or we're not the ones driving every single idea, but it is a bit more of a community turnover. But that's what I would like for next.
Speaking as one of the shaking people that has turned up to these sessions on my gravel bike. The only bike I had was that orange shopper with a basket on the front. Obviously all the pictures are lovely, and I think that's kind of what people take pictures of, but I think like if people want to go to these sessions or want to tell people about it, what is like the basic, like you literally just have to turn up with a bike, right? You don't have to be clipped in, you don't have to have cycling gear, like I think, I don't know, just like what do you do?
Totally, well I mean you turned up, that's a perfect example, gravel bike on the track, on the crit track. And that's it, like we just, or one of the photos as well, like had a bar bag on it. We're not going to go over your bike, so you're not aero enough, or that might fall off, or like if it's a danger, then of course we'll say something. But like otherwise, like we don't care how fat the tires are. We don't care what you wear. And that's like a whole premise of Jets, is that we want to break down the barriers to get more people. The idea originally was to remove the barriers to get more women into racing. Some women just don't want to race, and that's totally cool as well. Some women just want to turn up, and it's cool. Like they don't realise that they're riding on a wheel, or riding in a bunch, or doing these sort of quite advanced skills. But they just end up doing that. So just turn up. Just turn up. Wear whatever you want, whatever bike you want. There was multiple women at the velodrome session last week that hadn't clipped in. It is mandatory in the velodrome session that you do wear cleats, but part of the ticket price, again talking about removing a barrier, we keep costs as low as possible. For a 2-hour crit session, coach, 10 quid. For a 1-hour velodrome session, includes helmet, bike and shoe hire, so cleats, 15 quid. So we just keep it as cost effective as possible for everyone, which means we're like, sure, we're going to make our money back. Come on. But so far so good. So yeah, I guess that's it. It's like anyone can rock up. It's the whole premise. Criterion. It's about a 1 kilometre closed circuit track, so it means that there's no traffic on it. It's
like an F1 track, but for bikes, basically.
It's often like a circle sometimes, and sometimes it's a circle, sometimes it's a route that they do over and over again that's closed.
It might be around the town centre where the streets are closed off as well. So there's a lot of quick roads around town centres. They close the streets off immediately.
We're learning so many new things. It's great. Well, I'd just like to say a huge thank you so much thank you for coming.